want to speak briefly on conspiracy theories and why sometimes I see conspiracies in certain instances that take place here in America. Now, this image that I have up is the image that was posted on a news article regarding the biker gang. I just made a video about the biker gang that all charges were dropped. And there's always a fool, a troll, someone that don't have a photo, someone that don't have videos, that always want to make comments and say everything is not a conspiracy. The person was telling me that they were all banditos, right? All Spanish, biker gang. So I had to post this photo so that you can see in this photo, these are white dudes. These are white dudes right here. I don't see any banditos. Maybe there might be one right there. Maybe. I'm saying maybe. But what I see in this image are white dudes. He's got blonde hair. These are white dudes. So there's always a person that's got to comment and try to refute. They don't have any information on their channel, but they always want to give advice or opinion or give their comments on your work. Not so much as the article itself or the subject or topic at hand, but they always want to try to critique your work. But they have no work to present themselves. They just giving their opinions, which opinions, there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody is welcome to give their opinion on the topic. But then when you start trying to critique somebody's work, then I question, why don't you have anything to debunk what I say? Anything other than your words. Show me the evidence. Make a video and show me that we're talking about a majority Mexican or Spanish gang, So I had to present this photo because the last article was like white biker gang, but somebody had to comment, some fool had to comment and tell me it's bandito. I thought that the word would tell you that it's a Spanish biker gang, but I'm looking at white people. And there's a lot of Latinos, there's a lot of Spanish folk, and even Mexicans that call themselves white. They identify with being white. And there are Mexicans or Latinos that would tell you that they are white. And they also have a problem with darker skinned Dominicans or Cubans. So there's a whole nother battle going on within the Latino community. You have light skin against dark skin, just like in the so-called black community. But when it comes to conspiracies, like I mentioned in a prior video, black people have a right to see conspiracy. There's nothing wrong with seeing conspiracies. Just like in the Nipsey Hussle case. Now, in my mind, I'm seeing that this dude in broad open daylight parks around the corner. He's got a getaway person, which happens to be a black female. He comes around to the store. He looks like he exchanged words with dude. Then he shoots dude. Look like he's tried to run away, and then he comes back, shoot the dude again. He runs back and then come back, shoot the dude again, and then he kicks him in his head. It's like, that's personal. That's personal, but at the same time, why was there that much rage in him to the point where he had to put 6 rounds in him? 5 in the body and 1 in the head, and then make sure after the man's dead you kick him in his head and runs. And then he runs to a mental hospital to check himself in. So, of course, black people got their conspiracies out there. They may say government, I may say police. Right? Now, I'm going to share a story. And this is true. I'm going to give a few accounts of when I was somewhat of a target, right? Now, I remember when I opened, well, actually I was already in business, but I moved from one side of town on into a drug territory, and not so much as a gang territory. You know, it was a lot of gang violence was going on, drive-by shootings, things of that nature. So I always like kept one of my stores in the hood, okay? Because like Nipsey Hussle, you know, decided to set up business in the hood. I did the same thing. When I set my store up, I'm there minding my own little business, conducting business and whatnot. And a lot of little gang bangers kind of, they respect me there, you know. So I got tight with a lot of them. I talked to them, started encouraging them to get out of the gang, you know, go back to school, you know. I was going to help them find work and all this stuff, man. So, and then plus a lot of them came in there and felt comfortable talking to me, you know, about things that were happening in their own personal life. And I had dudes, man, straight up shooters, killers, that would come in there in tears, you know, asking me like, why don't their father love them? Because their father's not in their life. And this one dude came in crying because, you know, his homeboys are sleeping with his moms, you know. So a lot of these young boys, they got their own personal issues out there. But anyway, so I was somewhat of a positive influence in the community, right? And so you had a lot of these dudes, they were getting out of gangs, they were going back to school, they'd come back in there, you know, telling me they got their job and they're doing well. Well, one day I started getting strange phone calls in my store, and I wasn't thinking much about it. People call, then they hang up the phone. The minute I answer the phone, they would hang up. So then after they hang up, then some strange person would come in the store and buy certain books that, you know, say like, I sold a lot of books, a lot of knowledge books. So when you have a white dude come in looking for certain information, it makes me wonder like, well, who are you? You know, this, because there's certain books that brothers buy, you know, in the conscious community, and then you have a white dude coming in asking for certain information, and then he want to sit there and dialogue with me, right? So I'll talk to him, but in the back of my head, I'm wondering, why are you here, right? So then after that, I would stand outside, like when business was slow, I would stand outside and talk to a couple of the Moorish brothers that come there, and we just kind of kick it. And I noticed that certain cops would drive by and mean mug me, right? And I'm sitting there looking at these cops, and they make sure that I see them looking at me, and they would mean mug me, right? So one day I told one of the brothers that was out there, I said, watch this. So when the cop drove by and he was staring at me, I kind of held my shirt back and kind of exposed my firearm, right? Which I shouldn't have done, but I kind of exposed my firearm, and the cop looked down at my waist and he looked at me and he kept driving, right? So then there was this black female, and this is how they use your own community against you and to even spy on you. So one day I'm in the store, it was probably around closing time, and there was a couple of people in the store, they were buying books and different things, right? So then this one female walks in, and I've seen her before. I really don't know her, but I've seen her around. And she walked in and she looked at me, and something about her movement, the way she moved, her energy wasn't right. I didn't feel comfortable with her energy. Not in a way where I felt threatened by her. I just felt that she wasn't in there to buy anything. And then she looked at me and says, "Oh, how you doing? I'm just looking around." But I'm looking at her, right? And her energy wasn't looking around, right? And so I didn't say nothing. So she got halfway in the store and she said, "I can't do this. I can't do this." So I'm looking at her, and the other women turn around, they looking at her like, "What are you talking about?" She said, "I can't do this." She said, "They told me to come in here and see what you're doing." And I kind of chuckled it off. I laughed it off and said, yeah, right. She said, no, I'm trying to tell you. And then one of the other girls said, she's trying to tell you something. And she said, no, she said, they told me to come in here and see what you're doing, to see what's going on in here. See, because I kind of like appeared in that neighborhood, right? They didn't know anything about me, and they wanted to know what I was doing in there, in the community. Because see, there's a lot of corrupt cops here, right? And there's cops here that have dudes on the street selling drugs for them, right? I've seen situations, man, like, but I ain't gonna get into that, but I've seen situations where dudes will go leave stuff in trees, and then the cop come by and get it and leave a package there for them. Just stuff like that, man. There's a lot of corrupt cops just out here, right? And so she told me, she said, they told me to come in here and see what you're doing, right? So I got loud. I said, listen, my door is always open. If them crackers got something to say to me, and that's what I said, if them crackers got something to say to me, tell them to come in here and face me themselves, right? Don't be sending you up in here to do their dirty work, right? I said, but no, I'm not going to say nothing because I don't want you to get in trouble, because she told me what was going on, right? But she left. After she left, then this dude, this so-called priest that was in the community that's working in one of the teen centers here, he come in there looking around, snooping around, seeing what's going on, right? So I told him, I said, yo, man, look, my door is always open. Don't be sending nobody up here, trying to spy on me, man. If you got some questions, man, you come in here and ask me yourself. You know what I mean? So my door is always open. And I said, I know about your phone calls that you guys call here just to see if I'm here, and then you send somebody up here just to listen in on what we talk about and what's going on, right? So he left. So now every time he see me, it's always like, how you doing? How you doing? He always speaking to me and whatnot, right? But so then like that passed, right? So one day I closed the store and I was on my way home, and I took a right turn onto this one street, Bellevue, and I was gonna stop at this store. And when I turned the corner and I got midway the block, this cop car comes speeding around the corner. He was on 2 wheels turning the corner, right? And getting ready to pull me over. So I'm thinking like, what's going on? So I pulled over. Cop pulling me over. 2 cops get out. Both cops had their hands on their gun, right? And one came to the passenger side, one came to the driver's side. Let me see your license registration. And I said, is there a reason why you pulled me over? And I said, I kept my hands where they can see it, because see, I'm armed. So I had my hand right up on the steering wheel. I said, is there a reason why you pulled me over? He said, can we see your license registration? You had a back light out. Now, he's on 2 wheels coming around the corner with the lights on for a tail light out, right? And that's the excuse that they use to pull brothers over. So 2 wheels on the car. So I said, all right, cool, no problem. So I'm giving him my license registration. So I had a cop car sticker on the car that my family member gave me, right? That's a cop. And he says, what is that right there? And I ain't say nothing because he asked for my license registration, right? And so he's like, is this your car? I said, well, you have all the information in your hands. Everything you need to know is already in your hands right there. If you want to know, it's right there in your hands, right? And he said, what is that? He kept pointing to that police sticker. Where'd you get that from? I said, my family member. I mentioned his name, and I said, your boss. They handed me my stuff back and literally ran back to their cars. Have a good day, sir. I'm like, no, wait a minute. So I took my seatbelt off. I got out of the car. I said, yo, man. I said, you can't harass me now? Have a good day, sir. But you can't harass me now? I can't be harassed? Have a good day, sir. Them brothers, man, from one of the gangs over there, man, they was cracking up. I said, you know what? I can't get harassed? Have a good day, sir. They got in their car and took off, right? So, and then there was another issue where I was selling knives and stun guns. Cops came in there, tore my store up and everything. Talking about like, oh, we pulled the woman over and she had a stun gun and she told us she got it from you, right? So I went through the court system. It was ended up thrown out, right? So when it comes to like conspiracy things, man, I've just, and there's more incidents that took place just because I was in that community. I was in that community. I was being a positive force in that community. I was talking to, I was getting through to a lot of young brothers over there. Gangbangers, man, killers. When I hear the news, man, I hear certain shootings took place in the description of the vehicle. It's like, I know who it was. right? I knew who drove that car, right? And so, but them dudes, man, it's like they gave me the utmost respect over there, man. And so, but you have cops that will put people up in your own communities to do their dirty work so that maybe they don't get arrested. Maybe they got something that they're dangling or holding over their head. And they're telling them, if you do this for us, we'll give you a break. It's just like a snitch. The same thing. See, that snitch, the cops will allow that snitch to be out there selling drugs. Because that snitch is going to be spying for them. Going to be taking information back to them. Right? So like, you may see the cop pick that snitch up, take him around the corner, and then drop him off. Pretend like he's arrested him, and next thing you know, he's out. Everybody else is still locked up. You wonder how you get out. Right? So I seen a lot of stuff happen, man, which I've been a target, you know, in the so-called black community, because I was making a difference there. I was talking to a lot of young people. I was getting through them young boys, man. Some of them were getting off, and unfortunately, you got some that's dead now. You got some, I seen a bunch of them in the newspaper just not too long ago, man. They got a group of them, man. They locked them up, man. It's kind of hurt, you know, to see them, because they're good dudes, man. But so yeah, so when it comes to like conspiracy theories, man, I'm not gonna always say it's the government that's doing these things, you know. And when I see certain things happen, I wonder if the police got their hands in it. And like I mentioned in that last video, man, it don't always have to be the police to pull the trigger. It can be the cop could have like a rat out there to do the work for him. He's got a rat out there that will bite you, you know, and that rat bites you, you get rabies, you know. So cops got rats out there, man. You got some real rats out there with rabies, man, that can take you down and literally take your life. So when I see situations like where, in the case of like Nipsey Hussle, man, how he got killed, it was how the dude did it, regardless if he had beef with the dude or they exchanged words. Because if this dude is a part of his set, they homeboys, they grew up together, they were friends, that was a lot of rage, man. Even if he did call the dude a snitch and told him that he couldn't be around there, that's like no reason to go get a gun and shoot that dude in broad open daylight 6 times and then kick him in the head, knowing that there's cameras out there. And then he's gonna run to a mental ward to try to check himself in. And another thing too that kind of stood out to me was that the cops was really adamant about catching him, because they even said that they wanted to get him before the streets got him. It's like, why are you trying to protect a criminal, someone that just committed a murder, that supposedly is on the run? But the cops said, we want to get him before the streets get him, right? And then not long after that, they caught him just that easy. All right, so I just, you know, again, when it comes to conspiracy theories, black people got a right, especially if black people went through certain things. And like the clown that made that comment about, you know, everything is not a conspiracy. That's true. Everything is not a conspiracy. But there's certain things that just kind of like stick out and make you wonder. And when I spoke about these biker games getting off, that's not a conspiracy. That's true. They were able to walk. And just like the Jussie Smollett case, he was able to walk. 16 felony charges dropped. So that's I mean, people can believe what they want to believe. There's people, man, in this day and time, man, people are caught up in video games. They caught up in the internet so much, man, they lose focus of what's happening in real life. They have no idea what's happening in the real world, because they caught up in some type of illusion from the internet. And then when somebody taught reality to them, they look at it as a joke, you know, as a conspiracy. Oh, excuse me. They look at it like, oh, everything is not a conspiracy. No, that's really happening. You know, so my throat is getting dry here. Feedback. Tell me what you think. I'm going to go get something to drink. Until next time, I'm fearless.